Big shout out and thank you to my friend Sleeper F150 on Instagram. You guys get a chance, go ahead on Instagram, follow him at sleeper underscore F150. Not only did he provide us with the thumbnail for this video, but also inspired me to talk about what we're going to talk about in this episode. So thank you, and thank you all, and enjoy the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Starz. I am Z. I am your host and the creator of Starz series, podcast, brand, you name it, I did it. That's me. I want to thank you all for tuning in for another episode. Again, this is episode 5 overall, but this is episode 2 of the Sleeper series. Now, I want to also apologize. I was trying to get this video out sooner. As we all know, we live in a crazy world, crazy time right now, and life happens and life moves on. That being said, I am well, I am happy, I am healthy. I hope you all are safe and healthy as well. Today, we're going to talk about what I think, my opinion. Keep in mind, it's my opinion. If you want to talk about it, hit me up on Instagram, comment in the section below. We can talk about it. We'll be civil about it. But I think the latest generation Ford F-150 platform is the best truck you can get in the used market today. Not just the Ecoboost, but the 5.0 V8 as well. Yeah, the Coyote V8, found from the Mustang. That one, yeah, that's in the truck too as an option. That one as well. Now, the reason why I say that is because yes, you can do all the stuff you do with a truck. You know, you work construction, you live on land, you want to go on a road trip, you're moving, you need a buddy to help you move, and they have a truck. You know, all that stuff you can do with all the extra compartment space and everything, and with not that much money added to it. Say about $2,000 in parts, more or less. Yeah, you can compete with or pick on or beat your sports cars and muscle cars in your town with not that much money put into it. And of course, as we know, new trucks cost new truck price, and that can mean anything now with all the inflation stuff going on. But what I've seen, the potential in these trucks are really hard to ignore. A friend of mine has one of these, the 3.5 liter Ecoboost, and he was on the door of a Tesla P85 Model S. I believe it was, if it wasn't the P85 Plus, it was P85D. And then yes, it was from a dig. Tell me one truck or car that you know that can do that. I'll wait. Send me the video with proof or comment section below. I can't think of any other vehicle that can compete on the door of any Tesla Model S, whether it's the 70, 75, 80, or however many they are nowadays. I can't think of one. And I've seen this truck do it. So to me, that was very eye-opening. And you see these trucks everywhere. Now after you listen to this, you're probably going to look for these trucks. Now I'm like, oh, there's one. And you might even own one. So if you own one, this video is definitely for you. And hopefully you can learn something from it, or you're like, yes, finally somebody else gets it. And if you're looking for a truck, well, this video is also for you. But we're going to talk about used price on these trucks, common problems if there are any, and as far as upgrades go, I'm going to keep it as simple and short and sweet as possible. Again, when it comes to upgrades, obey your local laws, do your research, take care of your truck, it'll take care of you. I am not responsible for the mistakes that you have to experience or the lessons that you learn. You make your bed, you sleep in it. That being said, let's get into it. Now, as far as stock power levels go, it varies from vehicle to vehicle. And I did my best to find as common results on the dyno as I could for all the videos that I watched on the Ecoboost and the 5.0. Of course, there's variations between dyno jets and Mustang dynos and weather and altitude and things like that. But starting with the 3.5 liter Ecoboost, I've seen an average of 338 horsepower and 387 foot-pounds of torque. Now for the 2.7 liter Ecoboost, it was a weird variation in power and torque. Now on the low side, I've seen as low as 263 horsepower and 319 foot-pounds of torque to as high as 315 horsepower and 385 foot-pounds of torque. Now on the high side, in the videos I watched, the guy kept it in fifth and revved it to a certain RPM. He just wanted to let everybody know as well that he wasn't sure how accurate or consistent those numbers were, but that's how he ran his trucks, and he found consistency in that. And for the Coyote V8's F-150, seen as low as 309 horsepower, up to as high as 330 horsepower, and 345 foot-pounds of torque. Now again, all these vehicles are stock. Yes, there's variation between Dynojet and Mustang dynos, but those are the numbers that I found, on average. Now, as far as common problems go for these trucks, I honestly couldn't find many. I know that there were some cam phasing issues on some trucks for the poor unfortunate souls that had to experience it. There were enough to where Ford put out a service bulletin to have that taken care of for trucks under warranty. And then timing chains coming loose as well, a weird defect, but it happened enough, but not common at the same time, if that makes sense. But if these things were to happen in the future as these trucks get older, I'm sure there's going to be a more affordable aftermarket solution for that. Now, at some point, these trucks were 6 speeds, and a lot of them are, and now they have the newer 10 speeds. People complained that the 10 speeds, and not just in the F-150, but even the Mustangs, were weird, like they weren't shifting right. But these are the same people who aren't used to having that many gears to drive with. I mean, for those who drive or have driven, BMWs that have commonly 7 speeds, you're used to it, and you know that. Or chirping at a certain speed. I mean, that's just how the transmission's geared. It's something you'd have to learn. And unfortunately, not most, but some of the people that I've been around did not want to learn that. And they thought there was something wrong with their trucks or their vehicles, and they got rid of them. But that's on them. If that's the decision they make, again, that's on them. But no, that's just how they're geared. And if they didn't want to deal with that change, then go back to 6 speeds or older 4-speed, 5-speed vehicles. That's fine. Everybody's got their thing. But no, that's it. There's really not much I can find wrong with these trucks. That being said, we're going to talk about upgrades next. As always, obey your local laws, do your research, do your maintenance. I'm not responsible for anything you do or don't do. You make your bed, you sleep in it. If you have any success, thank yourself. If you have any failures, blame yourself, learn from it either way. I'm just here to share ideas that may or may not help you, or you may or may not be interested in. With that being said, let's get into the mods. Okay, so for the Ecoboost platform, I'm going to keep this as budget as I possibly can. So therefore, I'm not going to talk about cold air intakes, because if you want to spend $400 to $800 on a cold air intake, that's cool if that's what you want to do. But I'm going to talk about the drop-in filters. For what I've seen, they range from, and of course, prices change every time of the year. It is the holiday season right now, so you know how that goes. But I've seen price for drop-in filters as low as $35 to as high as $85. Starting with the AEM drop-in filter, the more familiar, popular one, the K&N drop-in filter. Cobb Tuning has a drop-in filter as well, and I believe AFE Power is the one that's $85 currently. Alright, up next with the front mount intercoolers, we have first AMS with their front mount intercooler for the 3.5 and the 2.7 Ecoboost for about $1,000. This one surprised me because I know AMS for building all the crazy GTRs, like the Alpha 10s, Alpha 9, Alpha 12s, Alpha 20s. Believe it or not, they have that now. Alpha Omega GTRs. Now moving on to I believe it's the Infiniti Q60s with the 3-liter twin turbo engines and twin turbocharging the Lambos and out air 8V10s and things like that. So it's really cool they have something going on with the Ford EcoBoost platform. Now, up next we have Mishimoto with their intercooler for 918, and then after that it is the Cobb Tuning front mount intercooler that's not just stock location, but carb legal as well. And I like this one too because it is black intercooler, and the stock location, it fits right where the factory one would sit. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you're gonna think it's just a stock factory intercooler. This one is a bit more expensive at 1,400 bucks, but again, I like the stealthy vibe of it, and it's pretty cool. Now, moving on, we do have another 50 state legal from an intercooler, but it's from Garrett. It's about 918, and this is for the 3.5 liter Ecoboost. And then lastly, it's CV Fab with their 3.5 liter Ecoboost intercooler for about 575 bucks currently. Up next, we're going to talk about different tuning modules that are available for these cars, or these trucks, technically. Excuse me. So, starting out with Bully Dog or SCT, they have handheld programmers. I believe it's the same company, same product at this point. It's about 400 bucks. Now, just to be clear, pretty much all the tuners I'm going to mention are plug-and-play type programmers that you can change on the fly. You know, they have the buttons and the screens that you can use to navigate through the system and change the maps and change back to stock if you want, or your go fast maps, or your towing mode, or even tuning for fuel economy. You know, they can all pretty much do this. But starting with the Bully Dog or SCT is about 400 bucks. Moving on to the Cobb Access Port, I just want to go ahead and take this time out to thank and congratulate Cobb Tuning for making the Access Port 50 state legal. Now, I believe it's about 6 to 8 months ago. If you guys don't remember the crazy RPM Act thing that was trying to be instated yet again, it's been quiet right now. I don't know what's going on with that, but it seems like it's been kind of dropped right now. But during that time, Cobb was working on products that are 50 state compliant for all their customers. I mean, from the access port being CARB legal to catted downpipes as well. So far from what I've seen, this is one of many vehicles that they do have the access port for that are 50 state legal. So again, thank you, Cobb Tuning, and congratulations on making this happen. I do hope and wish to see more from you guys in the future with all the progress that you're making. That being said, depending on the year Ecoboost you have, whether it's the 3.5 or the 2.7, prices points for the access port I've seen range from 600 to 900 bucks. Now, moving on to the auto agent, or EasyLink, as Bruce City Boost uses it for. Auto agent's about 500 bucks, and they use EasyLink, and they actually have a lot of solutions for a lot of different tuners that I'm actually going to mention. They have custom maps for these things. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys to see the different options that they have. I think it's about 120 to 150 bucks a map, but they use EasyLink for their tuning. Again, it's a plug-and-play module, and I believe they have a 2.7 liter Ecoboost F-150 pushing about 540 horsepower right now on this stuff too. So, if you guys want to look into the Bruce City Boost for custom maps for your tuning solutions for whatever product you have, there's a list of the ones that they provide solutions for, and reach out to them. It looks like they're doing pretty cool stuff. That being said, we're going to move on to the N-Gage, which uses HP tuning solutions, which threw me off at first because it's like, wait a minute, HP tuning, isn't that the same tuning that they use for all the Chevy stuff, you know, like the Corvettes, you know, the G8 GTs, the Chevy SSs and things like that, or even Hellcats now? And yeah, pretty much is. This is actually in the shape of a little gauge. It's clever, actually, very, very compact and mobile. It's very unique compared to all the other, you know, square and rectangular screens out here and the different tuning solutions. This one goes for about $450. Up next, we have the AFE Scorcher, another plug-and-play module, kind of a piggyback vibes for all the JDM guys who know what piggybacks are. This one's interesting to me because they claim that it won't show a digital footprint on the factory PCM. And what I mean by that is, if you were to revert your truck back to stock and a shop had to look at the PCM for any logs, from my understanding, it would show if they had aftermarket software on the computer at any time, whether it's Cobb or SCT or whatever. This company is saying that it won't show at all, and I think that's pretty cool if that's the case. Now, lastly, I'm going to go with Superchip. They've been around for a very long time. The in-cabin tuner they have is about $550, and this is another 50 state legal option. Oh, before I forget, you can actually also run ethanol mixtures on these trucks too. So, you know, like E50, if you want to go all the way up to 85, you can do that as well. I believe it's simpler to run an E50 tune. Of course, you have to balance out the mixtures and calculate that. There's an app on, I know iPhone has it, and other content readers that you can add in as a gauge on your trucks that can do that too. But I mean, from what I've seen, at least in one video in particular, for the Ecoboost 3.5, guy had just a drop-in filter, an E50 tune, and may have had something else. But from what I remember, it was just those two things really, and a resonator delete, pushing about 5 plus, right over 5, 507 I believe, 504, something like that. So, ethanol and boost, regardless of what the mixture is, helps out a lot. Up next, we're going to talk about turbo upgrades. I know this is a bit more pricey for the Ecoboost budget, but no, is it necessary? No, it's not, especially if you want to go strictly budget and even make close to 500 horsepower or right underneath it. It's not even necessary to do this, but I want to share this just in case you guys want to in the future. That being said, the 2013 to 2016 Ecoboost trucks, Ford Performance does have a turbo upgrade option for 3.5 liter. It's about $2,400 for the turbos. If that's a bit much, Garrett has the PowerMax turbos at a stock location, starting as low as $1,700. Again, like the front mount intercooler I mentioned earlier from Cobb, stock location meaning they go right where the factory stuff goes. And if you know, you know, and if you don't, you'll find out the hard way, or you can ask, whatever. But that's an option. And for the 2017 to the 2020 model Ecoboost, CR Stage 3, or CR Racing, has their Stage 3 turbos for about $3,400. These turbos, I believe, are good for about $650. I can't recall, but yeah, it's, again, it does not take much to get a lot of power out of these. If you need the extra flow for higher power numbers, if you need it or want it, I can't imagine that you would, unless you're that competitive. These are options that you can go with. And last but not least, we are on the 5.0 V8. The same Coyote V8 in the Mustangs. So think about what I just said and imagine the possibilities and potential that this platform has. So, basic things, if you want to stay all motor or do a couple of bolt-ons and tune and such, you can do that. One popular mod for the F-150s are to take the intake manifold from the Mustang and put it on the F-150 as a flow better. From my understanding, you can swap cams over too, but why swap stock for stock? You can go to comp cams, get the drop-in cams, about $1,500 currently, and it doesn't include anything else. It actually, you can use the stock valve springs and retainers. And then there's also Lethal Performance with their Stage 1, same deal to the drop-in cam set. You can use the factory valve springs and retainers as well. So $1,500 to $1,800 for those basic options isn't too bad. From what I've seen, at least on the Lethal Performance side or comp cam side, it's about a 20 horsepower increase, but I'm sure that depends on the tune and whether or not you're running E85 or any blend of ethanol or not. Some people might argue, like, why that's too expensive for that much power. I was like, well, no, not really. Keep in mind, this is an all-motor platform. It's not like a supercharged or a turbocharged engine where horsepower is cheap. And it doesn't make it a bad thing. I think there's a lot of people that complain about, all-motor parts being expensive, don't really understand how all-motor platforms work in a performance perspective. You don't have to wait for anything to spool up. You don't have to worry about a belt or a pulley or heat soaking on superchargers. It's just all motor. You just hit the throttle and go, and that depends on the throttle response based on, of course, the cams and airflow with the heads and fuel and gearing. So it'll be a video for another time, but in my opinion, with this and proper gearing, which it should be in these 6-speed and 10-speed trucks, you'll be all right. You're going to compete with a lot of stuff that people may not really understand. To further prove my point, I'll talk about the ISF in the next video. But that's how I feel about the all-motor 5.0s. It's just like do a cam setup, bolt-ons, maybe a tune, fuel, you're good. That being said, you could also do the JVA shorty headers. They're 50 state legal. They're $600 right now. If you wanted to spend a lot more with stainless works with an additional Y pipe, it's $1,800. I myself would rather get cams, and then do the JVA shorties, and yeah, perhaps if you really need to or want to, get a cat back from like Borla or Flowmaster or something for a lot less. And if you want to go the force induction route, well, Whipple has the supercharger kit for the F-150. Stage 1 is about $8,200 right now. It's rated for about 700 horsepower. I've seen some trucks just straight out the box, install, plug and play type stuff, just get it set up, pushing about mid 500s. I'm sure that has to do with tuning, fuel, and a lot of other things. Stage 2, it's good for about 730. It's about $1,000 more. I actually don't know the difference between stage 1 and stage 2 from what I've looked at. I imagine it might be a pulley. If you wanted to get a different size pulley to run different boost level, Whipple also has that option on their website. I believe it's about $140 per pulley. Ken Bell also has, I believe it's the Mammoth supercharger for the F-150, rated for about 600 plus, 700 plus, somewhere around there, for about $8 grand as well. It's 50 state pending, but it's another option. You know, Ken Bell's been around for a long time, and they do some crazy stuff with not just, you know, Ford products like the Mustang or the F-150, but, you know, Camaros and Hemis as well. And they even have like their race style supercharger stuff. It's insane. It's pretty cool, actually. But that's another option too. And of course, for fuel, you can do an ethanol blend or E85. But that being said, these trucks, starting out, run like 14s, maybe 13s in a quarter mile. And after everything we've discussed with the Ecoboost and the 5.0, you can have your trucks run 11s, maybe even 10s, depending on your setup. We're talking about anywhere from the 300 horsepower to the over 500 horsepower mark, or right under 500 horsepower mark. Maybe mid 5s at the high side, low side maybe right under like 485, 490, depending on your fuel. But that's not bad at all for the performance that you get, for the money you put in, regardless of what your route is on any of these platforms. And even going back to the V8, you don't even have to build the whole motor. Maybe just the top end, maybe cam, heads, bolt-ons, tune, you're good to go. If you want to do all that, you may not even have to do all that from what I've seen. You can do less and be very competitive. So that's all we have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, share, comment anything below. Let me know what you guys want to see, what you guys think about these trucks. If you had any run-ins with these trucks, if you raced any of them, or if you own one and you've done it, share your experiences either in the comments section or on Instagram at ModStarz. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. Happy holidays.